This is an example of our chicken coop. Today we're going to take you through why the birds need to be housed, why you need a chicken coop if you are a poultry farmer, factors to consider when building your chicken coop. As you can see, we have ventilation in our chicken coop and it is very secured from predators, from outside predators. The material we have used to build the chicken coop, why underneath we have, on the bottom of it we have also sealed. We are going to take you through reasons and the characteristics of a good chicken coop, what you need to have inside your chicken coop, and what the birds need for them to remain healthy and strong.
Constructing the chicken coop. Most people will ask us, what is the spacing I need for 100 birds? How should I construct my house? And what do I need in the chicken coop? Well, we'll be covering what you need to do, the factors you need to consider when constructing your chicken coop. Number one, we look at the spacing. First of all, under spacing, you have to know, why do you want to keep the birds? Do you want to keep them for meat? Do you want to keep them for eggs? Because birds kept for meat and birds kept for eggs have different spacing. For laying birds, you need around 2 to 2.5 square feet per bird. Birds kept for meat, you do not need that big space because the birds do not need space for mating. You just need them fat and you need them for meat. So you can use anything between 1.5 to 2 square feet per bird. Ventilation. Why do you need the ventilation in a chicken coop? Ventilation is important because it helps control temperature, air circulation, and maybe disease control. How do you need to place your ventilation in a poultry coop? Your ventilation should be almost half one side of the longest side of your chicken coop. Why does it need to be that way? The birds need proper air circulation. If you put anything less than that, you'll be exposing them to diseases like infectious coryza and other things that comes with poor ventilation in the poultry coop. You also need to place your ventilation in a way that it is not direct to the wind. You need to consider the wind direction when putting your ventilation in your poultry coop. The wind direction affects or determines the diseases that will come with the wind and enter the chicken coop. So in putting your ventilation, it should be in a way that the ventilation does not face where the wind comes from directly. You also need to consider lighting under ventilation. The ventilation should be in such a way that there is enough light that comes in, natural sunlight during the day. You also need to consider security. Why do you have to consider security? Thieves and predators may be common in poultry production. So, when constructing your chicken coop, make it in a way that it is secure for the birds. Predators will not come in oftenly to interfere with the birds. That will affect egg production. Also, you should make it in a way that the thieves can find it difficult accessing the house. Available capital. How much do you have for the capital? And what materials will you choose to use depending on the available capital that you have? If you have enough capital, you'll go for more expensive materials. If you have average capital, you'll go for moderate materials, Ease to access. You'll need to do some maintenance practices inside the chicken coop. You'll need to do feeding, you'll need to do cleaning, and maybe vaccination. The house should not be in a way that you cannot access the house very well when doing these maintenance practices. Noise. When choosing the place or the location of your chicken coop, it should not be next to factories that causes noise pollution. That will affect the egg production of the birds. What you need to have in the chicken coop will determine the spacing or the size of the poultry coop that you want to construct. You need to have drinkers, you need to have feeders. For the laying birds, you need to have perches, you need to have laying boxes and all that. When calculating the spacing of the birds, you should also figure in the spacing you need for these things that you need in the poultry coop. That is feeders, drinkers, perches, and maybe the laying boxes for the laying birds. Is to clean. Construct your poultry coop in a way that it is easy to clean. If you're making a story building and not using the deep litter system, use wire mesh. Make it in such a way that the birds on top will be dropping down, the waste will be dropping down, and that will make it easy for you to clean the whole house.
And before you decide on the size, on the location of your chicken coop, take some time. Take a week or two to monitor the area so that you can be able to make the correct decision on where to build your chicken coop. We're gonna talk a bit about our chicken coop, the one you can see behind us. There are several factors, as you have heard from Kate, that you have to consider about building a chicken coop. When we were building our chicken coop, we used iron sheets to build a chicken coop because the weather is usually hot in our area, so this is very good. The hot area improves production of chicken. And on the floor, you can decide on the floor to put concrete, or you can just decide to put it around, and then on the floor you use sawdust. And you can also decide when building the ventilation area, you can decide only to use chicken wire to keep out the intruders or whatever, anything that can affect the birds. Or you can as well decide to put the big wire mesh. What is it called?
Wild mesh.
The wild mesh. You can as well decide to use the wild mesh. And when we were building our chicken coop, what we did, we considered all the factors given the area that we are in, the security. If you have a fence around your chicken coop in your home, that will be more secure. But if your chicken coop is in an open area, you will need to invest more in security. We put concrete around it because some intruders dig way below the chicken coop to attack the birds. And we used depending on the contractor you will hire. Find a good contractor. Find somebody who has an idea about building chicken coops, at least somebody with the knowledge, and then let him or her, let the person you have hired to advise you well, or rather go to another farm where somebody has built a good chicken coop. We have two sections in our chicken coop. When we were building our chicken coop, the first section in the chicken coop, we have it as a brooder. Here we keep the small chicks, the younger chicks. It is we made it of iron sheet, and for easier cleaning and to keep out intruders, the floor is made of concrete, and then we put sawdust on top of the concrete. The sawdust helps in maintaining the heat. In the brooder section, we have plywood around, and between the plywood and the iron sheet, that is the wall of the chicken coop, we have sawdust. The sawdust that is between the plywood and the iron sheet, that is the wall of the house, maintains the heat in the chicken coop, so that at night it doesn't get too cold. It releases the heat that it holds. And then when you go to the next section of our chicken coop, that is the place where we put our parent stock. We made it in a way that it is easier for us to access and a bit difficult for an intruder who comes from outside to access the chicken coop. We have perches in the main coop. We have laying boxes in the main coop. We have several of them, and on the larger part where we put where we have our chicken, where we have our parent stock, we have an outside outlet where the birds can go out for free range. In the morning they walk out of the sometimes we feed them from outside, of course, when the weather is appropriate. So we have a place where we have built for them a staircase. Actually, we have trained them how to go down the staircase in the morning and how to come back in the evening after they have exercise outside. It's more of an exercise area. Welcome to our chicken coop. This is where we store our main birds. We're going to show you around, talk to you a bit about why we have everything where it is. Now, on my left side, this is our automatic drinkers. If you look underneath it, it has nipples. This helps to keep the water very clean. It helps to keep the water very clean. And the birds know automatically when they come here and they play around with the nipples, it will release water. This helps in keeping the water clean and avoids us coming up here all the time to refill the water. And then on the far left, you can notice that we have our feeder down here. This is where we feed our birds. We usually come every morning and every afternoon. We have to clean this, and then we change the feeds for them. We do this so that we can avoid filling the chicken coop with feeders. That's reducing the space here. Now, when they use this feeder to feed, it will help in making sure that all the birds get the necessary space they need to eat. If you notice that our chicken coop is not so spacious, this is not to make it very comfortable for any intruders. Maybe, for example, a thief comes in or something. We design the chicken coop for the birds, not for humans. So this will also help for security reasons. On my far behind, you will notice we have laying boxes. These are laying boxes, and some of them are already in use. You can see they're black in color. They're very dark. Hens like laying in dark places. They like their privacy. Just like humans, whenever you're doing your private stuff, you like the privacy. So as you can see, the birds like laying in private places. And then they're dark, and then the bigger part of it is covered. So a bird will come, just go in there and lay. If you notice, we already have a few eggs, and in the laying boxes we use sand. In the laying boxes we use sand. Sand helps to keep the eggs very clean. If you note, we collect very clean eggs from our chicken coops without any feces on the eggs. This is because the sand, whenever if at all any other bird goes into the laying nest and does on poops there, the sand will the sand will cover the poop, and then the egg will remain clean. They will not mix up and become dirty.
How do the hens know where they're supposed to lay? I think this is very natural. You place the laying box in a dark place. The hens will always go for somewhere where they find it comfortable laying. They don't want somewhere where it's exposed. They want somewhere where it's comfortable, at least dark, where they can have their privacy. So just position your laying box in a place where there is enough privacy, a place where it's dark, and your birds will tell where they want to drop their eggs.
As you can see, we have perches. This is a perch. The birds like at least somewhere to play around, to swing around. So whenever they are not laying, whenever they are not eating, they can use this to swing around, just like our kids, whenever they're bored, they like something to keep them busy. You will also note that in our chicken coop we have ventilation around, so the lighting in the chicken coop is important. Right now it is during the day, and the lights there is enough openings to allow the lights to come in. Here we have the aloe vera. This is our natural antibiotic. The aloe vera is our natural antibiotic. We usually take this and we hang it for the birds. Whenever we have not hung for them the greens, which are very important for them, we get the aloe vera and we hang it for them. They can use this. This is specifically for medicinal use. The aloe vera is very important for your birds. This will help strengthen their immune system. This will help them also to have something to keep them busy in the meantime. Whenever they are not feeding, whenever they are not laying, they will have something to keep. And if you notice, we have hanged it up, so whenever they are jumping to eat the upper parts of the aloe vera, this will also be exercise for the birds. It will help your birds to not be fatigued and to also be strong enough. Apart from the automatic drinkers, we also have the the other type of drinkers that are that we place in our chicken coop. We also use these drinkers in our chicken coop. You notice this, these are 10 liters. They can hold pretty much a lot of water. So any bird that will not get water from the automatic drinkers, they will be able to get it here. Or whenever we want to medicate them, whenever we want to vaccinate them, or whenever we want to give them anti-stress, we will prefer we use these drinkers, because the other drinkers hold quite a lot of water, and it is easier for them to use this one whenever we have the medicine, because after a few, maybe 1 or 2 hours, we will have to get rid of the water that is medicated, because it will turn poisonous. In the chicken coop, you will also note that we have heat bulbs. These heat bulbs will help in keeping the chicken coop warm during very cold times. At times you will notice that the weather is extremely very cold, and the birds will collect in one corner to keep each other warm. So we have also installed the heating bulbs for the grown mature birds. Some people will actually install this only for the younger birds. But the hot temperature, as we've noted before, the hot temperatures will help in increasing the production of the eggs. So whenever there is extreme cold at night, we will turn on the heat bulbs. We have each side we have one of them. This will help in warming up the chicken coop at night, or even the day when it is very cold, and the heatness will help in boosting the egg production by the birds.